Several weeks ago, we did Char Siu using pork belly, and it was so tender and juicy, and it was so good. But I wanted to try it using a more traditional cut of meat for Char Siu, which is pork shoulder, but I'm gonna cook it using the sous vide today. Let's see how it turns out. Hey everyone, I'm Flo. Dude is behind the camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. We have been enjoying this Char Siu recipe so much that I've just been freezing a batch in the freezer. And since it's in the bag already, I thought I'd just pop it in the sous vide and see how that goes. But I also almost always make sure that whatever I'm freezing, it's in a small enough shape that it could also be tossed in the Instant Pot if I wanted to. So I could just open up this bag and take it out. But it's even easier if I just throw it in the sous vide. I use the Joule sous vide stick, but you can use whatever sous vide device you have. But the Joule comes with an app that shows you exactly what it will look like in the end, which is great because then I can tell exactly which temperature I want to cook it at. So this is at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm going to choose the 158 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm cooking it from frozen, and it will take 8 hours. And I'm just going to start my Joule and heat up my water. In case you need it, here is the recipe for the marinade. It's 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons salt, 1/2 teaspoon 5-spice powder, 1/4 teaspoon white ground pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of sesame seed oil, 1 tablespoon of hoisin sauce, 1 tablespoon oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon soy sauce, 1 tablespoon Shaoxing wine. And you just mix all of that up, toss it into the bag along with 3 pounds of pork shoulder, massage it so that all the marinade gets everywhere, seal your bag, and throw it in the freezer. Or in this case, you can put it directly into your water as well, and it will still take 8 hours. Right, so it says it's ready, and all I have to do is hit start. I plop it in, make sure it's fully submerged, and then start. And that's it. 8 hours later, we will see you then. It's been 8 hours. I turned off the sous vide, pulled the bag out of the water, and I took the meat out. I dried it up with a paper towel, and this is what we have. I know it doesn't look great. That's why we need to brown it. This was all the liquid that was in the bag, and I'm not sure what to do with it, but if you look, it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot of fat in there, which is a little bit surprising to me. But I suppose what you could do is just drain it and use the sauce on rice. Because I didn't reserve any of the marinade, since I marinated all the meat ahead of time, I am going to make a little glaze to put on to baste. It's 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm not using the liquid that came out of the sous vide bag because it's been diluted with pork juices, and I just don't think it'll be as flavorful. So I'm just going to use this. So you can either throw this on the barbecue, or what I'm going to do is put it under the broiler.
I think we need a barbecue.
I think so too. I've been telling you all summer long. Now summer's almost over. Putting it under the broiler for 3 to 5 minutes. And we flipped it over after 3 minutes in the broiler, and we're just going to baste the other side.
We're not going to show the other side just yet.
I'm wondering if I should just put it under the broiler under every side because it's so big. Maybe not. I don't have patience for that. You all know that. Okay, the rest of the sauce.
Don't waste it, girl.
Okay, going back in for another 3 to 5 minutes. looks way better than when it first came out of the bag. So whatever syrup or sauce is left at the bottom, I'm just gonna try to cover or baste some of it onto the meat. And this was 5 minutes under the broiler, on this side, I should say. It was 5 minutes on this side under the broiler. See, when you see Char Siu in the stores, this is what it looks like. On the first side, I did only 3 minutes, but I think I was too close to the element, so I did lower my rack for the second side, just so that you guys can see. Oh my goodness, it looks and smells so good. Are you all ready for?
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
The taste. Well, here it is, guys. This is the pork shoulder, and it goes head to head against the pork belly, in which unfortunately we don't have on set. But I think I remember the flavors. You can see the layers here of the rendered fat and the meat. Oh man, dude, wow. I mean, both of them are fantastic, the pork belly and the pork shoulder. But right now, I'm in heaven. Not literally, but you know. It's tender. The fat is properly rendered, so you don't get that blubbery fat. The flavors are infused into the meat, and the meat is tender, so much flavor. Got a bit of, I'm gonna grab another piece. A tiny bit of crispiness on the outside. Don't tell the kids it's dinner time because
All right, thanks, dude. I had to have a piece. And I have to say that the pork shoulder is different from the pork belly. And I think it's just because of the cut of meat. Pork shoulder has a lot more lean pieces within it, along with some fat. Pork belly has more fat, so I think it makes it more moist, but not that this is not moist. The texture is just slightly different and it holds its shape better. Is that a better way of saying it? The pork belly kind of falls apart and just like melts in your mouth. This has way more texture, but is still tender and juicy and flavorful. Like it's you know what? It's delicious any way you slice it.
And it's closer to the store-bought
Yes.
Char Siu from the butcher shops.
Usually when I go to see the butcher for Char Siu, they always ask me if I want a lean piece or a fatty piece. And I always say I want something in between. I don't want anything too fatty and I don't want anything too lean. Depending on the butcher, sometimes they can tell that I'm Canadian born. So they will give me the worst piece because they think I don't know what I'm talking about. So when I go in, I make sure I put on my best Cantonese and I try to order the best piece. And usually they're better that way. I use the same recipe for both this pork shoulder and the pork belly. I cook this one in the sous vide, I cook the other in the Instant Pot. And if you don't have an Instant Pot or a sous vide device, throw it in the oven. Same recipe, it will be delicious any way you try it. To check out the pork belly recipe, I will see you over there.